Okay, welcome everyone to the Office of Sponsored Programs Research Core Development Team video training library on how to look up invoices in iLabs. A little bit about us, our contact information. If you need any kind of access request, any troubleshooting with getting into iLabs, additional training, individual or group, please send us an email at coresupport@med.unc.edu. The Research Core Development Team will be happy to get right back with you. Today, I'm Michael Akridge, and I'm the Financial Analyst on the Research Core Development Team. I also work for Ben White and Megan Kraft, the Director of Research Core Strategy and the Director of Research Core Development. If you need any kind of help, you can reach out to us individually, or you can just send us an email at coresupport@med.unc.edu, and we will get back with you within 24 to 48 hours. So why are we here today? Well, it's the most commonly asked request of us to get an invoice for an individual, and they don't understand why they don't have access or how to go about looking up invoices. And that's what this video is going to show you today. We want to be able to detail out those requirements that you need and designations that you need to look up invoices as a customer, accountant, or even a core facility. Now, if you're like me, you may work from home. Well, if you do that, please follow your departmental policy. You may have to use your virtual private network, VPN, Cisco, to get logged into the UNC network. And then you can log into iLabs on the following website. When you do this, you need to go there to create your profile. Everyone that's in iLabs must create a profile and designate themselves what role they're going to be in, lab member, core member, manager, things to that nature. But you must also select a lab to belong to. When you do that, make sure you send the lab and core support an email that you have requested to join that lab and that you need access. So we can actually designate you as that member, manager, also with other designation rights, ordering rights, or financial contact designations. If you do not know the lab that you need to join, you're not assigned to a lab, you may be in a core. Well, the cores aren't really listed to join. You need to actually join the UNC-CH test lab. Email us at coresupport@med.unc.edu. We'll allow you into the test lab, but then we can assign you out to your core or whatever labs that may come online once they're actually entered in. Okay, so who can look up invoices? People would think, well, I requested a service, I can look up an invoice. Not necessarily. Not all end users or customers can see their invoices. There's an exception to this, two exceptions actually. One is if they're the PI. The second exception is that they are designated as the lab manager with the designation as the financial contact. Then they can see the invoices for the lab in which they are assigned as a manager and financial contact in that lab. Now, our accountants and accounting technicians out there, they may be assigned to several different labs. There are some accountants that may manage 10 or 15 different lab portfolio funds. Well, you do need to be assigned to each one of those labs inside of iLabs. You need to be designated as a manager with the designation as a financial contact to be able to look up invoices in the invoice lookup screen. Principal investigators, or PIs, they can look up any invoices for their lab, not for other labs, but just for their lab. And it doesn't matter who requested the service. They get to see all their invoices for their lab. And then core facility personnel. They can only look at invoices and see invoices in which they were generated from their own core facility, so of what they work in. So they can't see other core facility invoices or other labs that had services done at other cores. They can only see their invoices that their core facility generated. Now, I'm going to show you the easiest way to search invoices inside of iLabs, and that's on the invoice lookup screen. To get there, it's very, very simple. You go up to the top left of your home screen to what's called the hamburger icon. It's three little lines at the top left of your screen. It'll open up some sub-menus and sub-links to go to, and yours may not look the same as mine. You may not have as many selections here, but you should have one as long as you're designated as a PI manager with a financial contact designation. You should have the invoices selection here on your screen. Click on invoices and it'll take you to the invoice lookup screen. Now, on the face value of the invoice lookup screen, there's three little areas that we're going to look into. The first one on the left-hand side is the filter menu. You can filter down to the data points that you need to look at. So again, if you belong to multiple labs, you're going to want to filter down to, say, the lab level here. So select the lab for the invoices that you want to see, and then you apply those filters here, and you can go from there. The other little section right here is called the bulk actions menu. Now, you may not see it expanded like this. I expanded it for the screenshot, but the bulk actions will probably be right here on the right-hand side, and it'll have two little arrows pointing to the left. When you click it, it basically expands this whole thing open, and you have your selections of what you can do here. I'm not going to go into detail on any of these selections of how to do them. There is one here, generate an aging report, that the accountants and the core facilities will really enjoy, especially when they're going through a rate review. This is how you can get a lot of good information even when you're going through your rate review. The third section of this screen, though, is our invoice list. And as you can see, it tells you when it was created, the court was in, the invoice number, of course, is here, the lab, the owner, and the payment number. One key note right here, payment number. I know you're looking at this saying, well, that's a chart field string. True. That's the one thing from an accounts payable and accounts receivable standpoint, payment numbers are a totally different thing. We're talking about accounts payable, especially in Connect Carolina. But in iLabs, payment number means the chart field string or the PO number, credit card number. That's what that means. So payment number, you can search by that here. And then over on this right-hand side, we're going to go through these icons here shortly. But first, we want to go in here and show you how to use this screen. The most easiest and efficient way is if you know your invoice number and you want to get a copy of that invoice, is type that invoice number here. You don't have to do those like MLI-TC- the 7 digits. You can just type in the 7 digits that you have. For my accountants out there that are reconciling from Infoport, when you download your transaction and your expenses from Infoport, the iLab invoice number will be in the reference to column. It'll be 7 digits long, and you just take that and you can type it right here and click go. All right. If you do not know your invoice number, okay, now you need to start searching and hunting for whatever lab it may be for. So at this point, use the filters to narrow down your search to the lab, maybe even by the chart field string. Again, you have payment number there. Maybe you want to see everything on that one chart field string. Well, that's fine. You can do that right here. Click apply filters once you're done filtering down your search, and it'll give you your list. Now, a couple of things to note that are very, very, very important, okay? And this is why I have them on the screen. iLabs will only search the last 12 months for an invoice number. So if you type in a keyword up here, an invoice number, it only gives you the last 12 months. Or if you search by labs or something, it only gives you 12 months worth of invoices. However, if your invoice is older than 12 months, you will need to set that date range. So let's just say you're closing out a project ID with OSP. You need backup documentation for whatever reasons. It could be audit reasons or just your closeout. Whatever it is, you need this documentation to prove these expenses occurred on this time and date. You make sure you set your date range here and search for that invoice inside of here, and then you can actually get it. So that project may be closing and this invoice is from 2 years ago. So you need to make sure you set that date range for at least 2 years ago. To note, for this date range, it will only allow you to search for 3 years, 3 consecutive years. So you could search for things for like 2017 to 2020, or 2020 to 2023, and that is okay. But you can't do 2017 to 2023. It's not going to allow you to do that. It'll prompt you to say it can only do 3-year time frame search, and click apply filters after that. So these little icons that are to the right, these are very good, very informative icons. They get overlooked so much, but they're very good icons, and they can tell you a lot visually about what's going on with a certain invoice. Here, this first one is our add comments. You can add a comment to an invoice. Whatever comment you may need to put on an invoice, you can put it on here, and that is okay. The accountants, whatever you need in there, just add a comment. That way you can come back to it later, a year from now, and you'll know what's going on with that invoice. Maybe you're moving the charges or something. But this other one, this little send email icon, it's a little envelope icon. Now, I took this screenshot on purpose because there's 2 different envelopes on here. There's one that has an envelope that's closed, these top 3, and these other 3 that are open. And for my core facilities and accountants that are out there, this is very important, because you may be saying, working in accounts receivable and saying, well, I haven't received payment for this invoice from this external customer or that external customer. And it's because you may go in there and look at their invoice. They never got the invoice. Well, it's just like when we're trying to pay invoices here from UNC, we can't pay anything if we don't have an invoice. Well, the same goes for the external customers. They too cannot pay if they don't receive that invoice. So if the envelope is closed, it means it was never sent to the customer. But if it's open, it means it was sent to the customer. And I will show you that inside of iLabs when we get into the live demonstration. Now, our third little icon is the magnifying glass icon. And that actually says view invoice when you hover over it. So if you want to view that invoice, you just click there. It'll open up in a new window or tab, depending on how your computer settings are. And it'll show you in that browser window or new tab the copy of the actual invoice. From there, you can then download it to a PDF, save your soft copy to whatever files you need to save it to, and go from there, whatever your department policy guides you to do. And the fourth little icon is the update status icon. Now, this icon, a lot of people may not have access to it. This is generally for our core administrators and core facilities. They can update the status of that invoice as being paid, not paid, unbillable, different little statuses that they can do. So you may not see that icon, and that is okay if you don't have access. That just means you're not part of the core facilities. You're an end user or a PI, you just cannot update the status to that invoice. Now, this is for our core facilities and core facilities only. So if you're a lab member, you can probably just kind of gaze over the rest of this little bit. It won't be long. But our core facilities can look up invoices in 2 other additional areas. I don't recommend going this route to search for an invoice, by no means. It's only for the ease of use when you're in. You may be talking to a customer and say, hey, what are the invoices on this service ID? And you're inside of that service request service ID when you're talking with them. You can actually then, just instead of going to the invoices, searching for each one, you can get in that service ID and look for all those billed line items. You can pull all those invoices directly from there. The other place that you can look for an invoice is under billing, under your billings, on your billing tab. Again, this is not a quick or efficient way to look up invoices. It's only for an ease of use for a core facility member. Now, again, you're talking to your customer online as a core facility. You're talking to them for about some billed line items. Well, right here, you got introductory training that was billed. The work status is completed. Billing status is initialized. You can see right here to the right of the little payment information symbol, the $sign, This one right here is the view invoice icon. You can view that invoice and you can download it just like you would from the invoices screen. That's one way to get your invoice. Again, it's not the best way to search for an invoice. It's just a way that the core facilities can get to an invoice, so it's more of an ease of use type lookup. The other one is to search in your billing tab. Come to your billings. If you know the date of the service, then that's usually the date of the invoice. You can then find it by the date added from your billing. It's going to be in your billing events from there. Now, for everyone watching here, we're going to go into a live demonstration. I'm going to show you inside of iLabs. If you have any kind of issues or questions regarding this training, please email us at coresupport@med.unc.edu. Let us know you watched the invoice lookup in iLabs video and send us your question along with your role, your lab, your facility, and what you may need, because we are here and we are here to help. We want to make sure that you can get the invoices as quickly as possible. Plus, we want to know if there's any mistakes or additional features that may come online that makes this training a little bit easier for everyone. So we do want and value each and every one of your inputs to this training. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this and go directly into iLabs. Now, here I'm already logged into iLabs. I'm on my home screen. And as you can see, it's not a very pretty home screen, but it's a home screen nonetheless. And I want to come up here to our hamburger icon, and we're going to click on that. Notice that menu opens up. Please don't fret or fray if you don't have all these groups and everything. You got to remember, I have institutional access, so I have access to everything. Your access is just going to look a little bit different. You may only have, my cores. You may not have that. You may only have view request and invoices. If you do not have invoices and you need invoices, email us and we can go over what you need invoices for, and because we may have to change your designation inside your lab. So for today, we want to go to our invoices screen, and it'll take you right to it. Well, as fast as the servers will allow, it will take us to it. And for my accountants that are out there, because you too will have access to a lot of different labs, you could actually narrow down your labs by coming over here and actually finding. And I'm going to do this top one here for Matthew Wolfgang. I clicked on my lab filter right there, and I'm going to come down to the W's and find Matthew Wolfgang, and I'm going to apply my filters. Once it gets applied, you can see that I've got 2 pages of invoices here. But I wanted you to see this because we are in October. It's actually October 11th of 2023. And it gave you the last 12 months worth of invoices. So there's October 2022. Could we expand that search? Yes, we could. We could actually come down here and set a date range, and we can go from October of 2020 to October 11th, 2023, and apply our filters. And now we can get the last 3 years, okay, of filters. See, now it's went up to 4 pages, okay? But if you go, it will not allow you to go over 3 years. So if you know the time frame that you need to search for, please narrow it down to get those invoices of whatever time frame you need. So again, if you're closing out a grant, it may be closing out, but the charges were from 2 years ago. You are going to have to use this date range filter here and filter it down to when the invoice was actually issued. That way you can get a copy of the invoice from there. Okay. So that's how you actually look it up. If you want to find that specific number here, we can then go in and type in our number and pull it up from whatever lab we're at. It does not matter how you do it, but that's just the easiest way. Type it in, go to it, and it'll pull that invoice right over here. Again, you can see the invoice email icon here, and I'm going to show you this. Now, this one's open, and I'm going to show you it actually gives you that sent email. Here's our email sent. It was sent October 11th by Kim Thacker. Hi, Kim. And here's our body of our email, and then it just tells you what it was actually sending. Okay, that's kind of our note and all that kind of stuff that she typed in here. Now, if we wanted to send another email, we could send it to Kim, reply back. We can add more people as long as they're registered in iLabs. We could select all these people right here if you wanted to, and then put your message inside of here and then send that email message. So here, it could be several emails sent, and it'll give you all the emails that was sent. Now, for my cores, this is really, really good because you may have some turnover in your cores. Someone may become injured. This is so nice because it keeps the emails consolidated to that invoice or that service request. So you actually can see all the emails that was created if someone was to go out. But notice here when I click on this one where the email icon is closed, there is no sent email tracking right here. You cannot see, there's nothing because there was never an email actually sent or the invoice was never actually sent to the end user. For internal customers, it's not a major issue. It's for our external customers that it's actually a bigger issue because if they do not receive an invoice, they cannot pay for the services to our core facilities. Here's the bulk actions menu. I told you that I had a screenshot with it open. Well, here it is closed. I'm going to click on it and you can see it actually opens up and it has what we have on our screenshot. If we want to close it back, we can just click right there and close it back. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and I want to show our core facilities. So our core facility personnel, not our labs, this is not going to apply to our labs, but our core facility personnel, they can come into their core facility. And in this one, I chose the Bioinformatics and Analytics Research Collaborative, the BARC core. We've been working really, really good with them, and they're coming along so well. I love their billings. They've got a really good manager in now, and they're going through the process. But I've selected one here. And here you can see there's two line items. Both billings have been initialized. But if I was the core administrator or a core manager and I'm talking to Gregory Bowen here, the Gregory Bowen lab, I may be talking to the PI on the phone or whatever, and we're just going over this service request. And what's the invoice? Well, guess what? You can view that invoice by going to that icon there. So if you did that, again, it opens up in a tab. And here's those other menus here. And you can download this as a PDF. You can send an email. You can update status. You can do a lot of different little things from here. So that's what we're talking about as ease of use. You don't have to sit there and try to go back to the invoices, search, things like that. This is just an ease of use for the core facilities. What else can they do? They can come over to the billing tab, but you'll need to know some specifics when the invoice was issued if you want to try to look for an invoice. So in this case, if I wanted to see the invoices that all have an invoice date of October 10th, I can come over here, click on that, and this will give me the list of all the invoices from October 10th. Again, I'm not searching for a specific lab or anything yet, but it's that October 10th is the date of the invoice. Now, if I want to filter it down by lab, I can do that here. So you can use your filters or payment numbers here, but you do need to know where that event was. Again, if you're looking for a very specific invoice, I do not recommend this way to search for an invoice for the cores. I'm just showing it for the core so they know that they can look up invoices here as long as they have some decent information to go by to get to it. It's just a little bit easier. But the most easiest way to look for a very specific invoice is to go to the invoices lookup screen and do your filtering from here. That way you can see that. Thank you guys for attending our demonstration for iLabs. Again, if you have any issues or questions, please email us at coresupport@med.unc.edu. I'm Michael Akridge. I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this video presentation and look forward to many more, and we'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.